This episode is brought to you by Liquid IV. When you hydrate with Liquid IV, you're powered by Hydroscience. Hydroscience is Liquid IV's science-backed formula with an optimized ratio of electrolytes, vitamins, and nutrients. Experience great-tasting hydration for mental clarity, physical endurance, and overall well-being. Sip into something that up-levels every moment. Liquid IV. Tear, pour, live more. Visit us at liquidiv.com.
Hello, friends and family. Welcome back to another episode of Sober is Dope by Pop Buchanan. I am here to talk about today sobriety and struggling in sobriety. So this episode is going to be about anyone that may be struggling with their recovery journey. And I also want to talk about the all-in approach of Sober is Dope and how maybe that could help with perspective. In any event, if you're new to addiction, inactive addiction, or struggling along your recovery journey. Usually I do this kind of like fun survey online where I'll do a post that will have different characteristics of the recovery journey with hearts next to it of different colors. So it might say, are you sober and struggling? Are you sober and thriving? Are you slipping and struggling? To that effect. So today I want to talk about if you're in sobriety, if you're sober, if you're clean and sober and you're having a rough time at it. This is going to be kind of a compact, straight to the point episode because this subject matter is real. And many of you who do listen to Sober is Dope or maybe new, I'm approaching 12 years of alcohol free lifestyle, which I never thought would be in my cards. So every day I wake up sober, I'm like, look, man, I'm very lucky because I remember the darkness. And that's one of the things that keeps me going. When people say, well, what advice can you give me? And I always say, well, just remember the darkness. Remember the reality. Remember the truth of your addiction, not the fantasy, not the vague, sporadic, fun or fleeting moments, not the ability to connect and to put yourself, not all of that fantastical stuff, the reality, the darkness, the pain, the trauma, that nightmare that we all experienced on our addiction journey. We got to remember that. So if you could remember the reality of how horrible your addiction made you feel and how it affected your quality of life, then you'll have a fighting chance by looking through your life through that lens and that perspective. All right. Without bull crapping yourself, keeping it 100% real. We have to remember the darkness. That's one of the things that I love to focus on my journey, right? Because it's not fun. It was like something out of a horror movie, man. I never will want to hurt myself like that again in any capacity. Just the level of pain I went through with just like the physical pain, the visceral pain, dehydration, not eating, putting this toxin in my body and chain smoking and hurting my lungs and not getting sleep and not eating and affecting my mental health and fighting and going days at a time and weeks at a time and months at a time without really just drinking water and just taking care of myself. And just to give you guys some context, I talk about the darkness of my life as it pertains to my addiction a lot. But prior to that, I really lived a really good life, man. I really was like a monk. The aspect of my life so it's like this contrast that I have to like live and explain, but it's just hard to really connect with that part of Pop Buchanan, like the 25-year-old Pop who just loved studying meditation and Tibetan scriptures and mysteries and, traveling in New York City and eating Japanese food and studying esoteric books and writing music and just being a real cool guy, right? And not to say that I wasn't cool as I got older in my addiction, but when the addiction spiraled out of control, fused with grief and mental health issues and stuff, and just pain, it just turned into this darkness that was just unrecognizable to who I was as Joseph Pop Buchanan, right? And my thing is, just it's just night and day. So when I talk about the darkness of the addiction, I also have to sometimes emphasize how far that was removed from the light of who I was and who I am. At the core of my soul, I'm just a cool dude who doesn't bother anyone, that just wants peace on earth, that's really close to the idea of a Godhead and just a creator and just loving that and just trying to be chill and just wishing everyone could be happy and wanting abundance and peace and, and just wholeness and to be fulfilled. That's all I ever wanted. Like, so if you met me, I'm even talking about a beautiful dream, something magical. I'm trying to teach something. I'm chilling. I like good food. I want to meditate. I want to pray. I want us to do these good things together. I want to create. I want to make music. I want to make love. I want to be happy. That's me. I was very jubilant. That's how I got the name Pop, right? I was that kid who bounces around and I was Poppy. And I am Poppy, right? But, when you mix addiction with some type of some type of grief, whether it's put it this way, to make it really clear, the worst combination, in my opinion, is when you have like when we look at the foundations of why we use and the nature of our addictions. And we know for a fact it's usually rooted in pain, loss, or grief, or some form of grief or some type of pain or trauma, something that happened to you that changed your brain through neuroplasticity, because a real traumatic event, first of all, anything could really change our brain. A happy experience could change your brain to reward it, to want more happy experiences, and to do things that can put you in alignment to receive more of that, right? So good things could change your brain, but horrible things do too. A death in the family, a loss of a career, a divorce, a bad argument, something that may have happened to you, something that may be personal to you. These things that change the brain and causes depression and anxiety and fear and PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder. So we want to emphasize that we recognize on Sober is Dope that you may be someone who's drinking or doing drugs to cope and go through the motions, right? And right now, it may seem like you have it under control. But what happens when you mix that with a real life-changing event, something that has the potential of throwing you in a state of sadness and depression and fear and anxiety, usually based on some trauma, loss and grief, and this changes us. We know the science behind this. So what happens? You just going along drinking, doing whatever, and now there's a death in the family. Now the person you love, you find out is cheating on you, and they've been cheating on you for the last 5 or 10 years with your best friend, and then they're running off and getting married. How do you go from, okay, I'm just having a beer or just having some trigger warning, some liquor or some drugs to get through, or it's recreational, to now my heart is shattered in a million pieces. I feel abandoned, betrayed, alone. I'm listening to sad music. I'm upset. My brain is changing because my emotions is the negative, and I'm really heartbroken. So we know this change really, it happens in real time. Like, you go through this trauma and it changes who you are. You could see it. Sometimes if someone goes to a full length of the divorce and it's really hard, you could see it when you see them like they're different, maybe for the better. Resiliency is changing for the better, bouncing back. But you could also see someone and say, damn, they taking it really hard, right? And they internalize the pain and it transformed them and changed their brain and threw them in a state of depression, sadness, grief, and all of these things build on top of it: anxiety, fear, panic, shame, guilt, whatever. There's a spectrum of emotions and ideas and feelings and things that we go through that boils down to grief and loss and sadness and pain. And when you combine that with any type of drug of choice, man, whether it's eating, shopping, sex, cigarettes, drinking, alcohol, drugs, prescription pills, whatever you want to, it could take a person so far out of that recognizable state and change them. And it creates this whole neuroplastic a new idea of who you are, right? A new reality. So when your family, like this person's in the room all day, they're different, they're not going to work, they're drinking, they're cursing, they run around these strange people. That's why when you go through major addiction, it disrupts the whole family unit. I want you to say this with me. When I struggle, or if I'm in pain, or even if I'm happy, my family will struggle and they're in pain or they're happy with me. We're never on this journey by ourselves. Like right now, if I, God forbid, which will never happen because I'm praying on it every day, relapse and drink some hard liquor or something and I'm off to the races, right? That fall from grace in my mind, that fall from the pedestal that I put recovery on, and that idea and that promise I made to God, that fall back down to that height of enlightenment, that would be shattering to me, but it would destroy me in so many ways. Like I would instantly become ill, mentally kind of deranged and sad and broken and heartbroken and feared, and I would change. But that pain and that transformation will also transfer to my family, my friends, my coworkers, you guys, how I show up in life, right? I will be a different person. I would not be Pop Buchanan as you know me. Okay, so we don't go through our addiction or our pain alone. We bring our family and friends and those around us for the ride. So we have to remember it's not just about us, although we have to find it in our hearts to find our recovery for ourselves and within ourselves. And we have to do it for ourselves, meaning that we have to really be ready, because it's almost impossible to get sober if you're not ready, right? Your wife or your husband could be ready. Your spouse could be ready. Your significant other could be ready. Your kids could be ready for you. Your work, someone could offer you $20 million. But if you are not ready to take that leap of faith and go onto your recovery journey and move away from addiction, I'm telling you, nothing, you're not going to do it. So we know that you have to be ready. Okay. And so this episode is, I say all of that to talk about if you are sober and struggling, right? It's a tough idea, man. When I hear that, it's scary, because if you're sober and struggling, it means you're one step away from potentially relapsing. And the thing about relapsing, you tend to relapse psychologically and emotionally before you kind of relapse physically, right? It could be spiritually. You start like finding resentment in a higher power. Like, I don't know, man, my life ain't where it needs to be. You start losing faith. Then it's psychological. Well, like one drink ain't gonna hurt. Everybody else get to do it. I've been good, right? You start playing around with those ideas. Then it's behaviors, right? Your behaviors start mimicking a potential relapse. You start hanging around the old crew again, thinking things are going to be different because you're sober now. You go around these toxic people and be cool. And then you start finding yourselves in triggering situations. And next thing you know, you wake up sad, broken, ashamed, embarrassed. Like, what happened, man? I feel like shit. I relapsed, man. Life is upside down. Sober and struggling, to relapse and being ashamed, full of guilt and upset and embarrassed are kissing cousins, baby. So today on this podcast, I want to share some tips with you if you are sober and struggling on your recovery journey. If you're clean and sober and you're struggling, that means if you do drugs, hard drugs, pills, any type of mind altering substance, including alcohol, and you're struggling on that journey, this episode is for you. And if you are in active addiction and want some insights on how a sober life may be, and if it's for you, which I think is for everyone, this episode is for you. Now, I want to wrap this episode up by giving a few tips on if you're sober and struggling. What would Pop do if I was sober and struggling? And what I get from to define sober and struggling, and what I get from it, you're not necessarily romanticizing using right now. It's just that you are in a very uncomfortable, unfamiliar state and you're slipping fast and you're starting to lose faith in your foundation, and every day gets harder and harder without a drink, and you're starting to doubt the process and you're really pissed off and life is not going the way it's supposed to be going. It's all peaches. There's no peaches and cream anymore. The paint cloud has faded. Now it's like all of this, man, like I'm going through it, man. I'm telling you, I need help. Shit's about to snap. I'm about to explode. Right? Life is getting to you. The people around you are not giving you the same respect they gave you when you first stopped using. Maybe they're still using around you. People taking advantage of the new sober you. You bit off more than you could chew. You made too many commitments. So now you're on this, I'm sober and I could be there for everyone, but you burnt out. So a lot of it is talking about, yo, are you burnt out? We get burnt out in sobriety and recovery. Why? Because when we're riding the pink cloud, that first 3 to 6 months, year to 2 year period, we off to the races. Oh, I got this. I'm good. I'm sober now. Sobriety's my superpower. I could do this. I could volunteer. I got to be of service. I need to go to a meeting every day. Then I got to go here and I got to go here. And next thing you know, you burnt out. Everyone wants all of this of you, and you like, where the hell were all you people when I was messed up and I was in my addiction? Now everybody wants me. I got to drive this person here. I got to go do this person here. I got to pay for this. I got to go. You are burnt out. We do not talk about what it feels like to be burnt out. If you're sober and struggling, I want you to write it down with me. There's going to be a masterclass. Are you okay? Do you think it's a possibility that you could be burnt out and tired? All right. Are people in your life taking advantage of the new sober you? Because did you bite off more than you can chew on your recovery journey by way of helping others and putting your needs ahead of, or putting their needs ahead of your needs? Can this be a possibility? That's all I'm asking you. This is for you to answer and for you. Now, if the answer is yes, I feel like that's what it is. This is what I want you to do. For the next 6 months, I want you to prioritize sleep, relaxation, and downtime. Sleep, relaxation, and downtime. You must prioritize that. For the next 6 months to a year, I need you to prioritize your recovery, meaning that you have to put at least 2 or 3 things off that you're doing now and say, I'm replacing these things with either a meeting, some form of recreational event, and some form of a hobby or creative thing that I want to do for myself. Meaning that if you was in your addiction, if you never went to your friend's soccer match on Tuesday nights and you was not volunteering there, you were just somewhere drinking and you had all your time, and now you get sober and you're doing all of these extra things. Right? You're going to your kids' recital, your best friend's art class, this person's this person's that. You have a 9 to 5. By the time you get home, you barely have enough time for yourself. You barely have enough time for a meeting. Everyone's pulling you every which way. You're barely getting 8 hours sleep. You barely have enough time to eat a real good meal, so you don't have a proper nutritional protocol. And not to mention, if you don't have a proper nutritional plan or protocol, you can't feed or rebuild your brain and nervous system, because when you're in addiction, you do a lot of damage to your brain and your nervous system. And it takes years. I mean, a lot of time to build back your dopamine receptors, your brain, the neurogenesis, and getting your nutrition back, building your gut microbiome back, as well as your nervous system, and getting those core central aspects of your body stronger. Now, when you're not eating, you're not sleeping, you're stressed, you're doing too much, you're not a superhero. You're gonna feel like a superhero on your recovery journey. Sobriety, sober is dope. Sober is dope. That's why I say that's our name. Sober is dope for a reason. But sober is not dope if you're not doing all of the stuff that you're supposed to maintain your sobriety. All right. So are you burnt out and are you putting yourself first? The remedy for that, the next 6 to 9 months, you must prioritize self-care. You have to tell your spouse, kids, co-workers, bosses, and everyone, listen, I don't care if you got to lie, make it up. You know how I feel. Lying is okay on Sober is Dope. If you're trying to get somebody off your back on your recovery journey and you don't have the bandwidth to sit there and write a novel and explain everything to them, say, listen, I'm going to Venezuela for the next year. I know it's a mission. I'm going. I'm sorry. And I don't contact me for a year. I'm going to be in Venezuela. They'll see you 3 weeks later. Thought you was in Venezuela. Yeah, Yeah. Things happen. How you doing? I'm out of here. The point is, I don't want you to go out there lying. I just want you to understand that you need to go to whatever length you need to go to maintain your peace of mind. Now, I hope you could be like me and be an adult and just prioritize no. I'm sorry. Listen, if anyone knows, everyone, even people in the Sober is Dope community, they know it's very hard to get Pop Buchanan in person to come anywhere. I'm really bad at that. Like like the last 3 years, I went to like 5 things. All right. I just part of my recovery journey. I'm a real hermit, man. I go to work and I come home and I build things. That's my Sober is Dope ritual. I learned how to exercise in my house. I don't need to go to a gym. I can exercise standing up. I can exercise laying down, and I can exercise just roaming and walking around. I taught myself how to do that. I made sure I could stay in shape in a room with just my body. I don't need to go to a gym or anything, right? I eat healthy. I don't like to eat out too much, even though I do, but I prioritize cooking and being healthy. So I love to cook. And then I have my computer, I have my girl. I'm chilling. Everything I want is in my crib. So that means I created a comfortable, sober environment. But this environment is also conducive. It's a sober workspace and a sober living space, meaning that it's all prepped for me to create, for me to expand, and for me to be peaceful while I navigate my recovery journey. You're not going to come around me and see chaos. 1,000 people around me is noisy, and you're going to come around me and you're not going to be hard to get around me. I don't even invite people over to my place. I haven't had a visitor at my home in over 6 years. I don't have, my sisters and my family drop by and stuff, but I'm just saying I don't have friends. I meet my friends out. If we're going out, I'm coming outside to see you. I'm not even bringing people into my space, because this is my sacred space. I don't want anyone in my sacred space besides family and my wife, my lady, right? That's it. We could go anywhere. We could go to Vegas together. We could hang out for a week. We go get hotels, tear apart the hotel. But when it comes to my sacred space, I'm not bringing anyone there. So I know if I got to shut the world down for 2 months and rebuild Pop Buchanan in my sobriety, then because I'm sober and struggling, then I have the space to do that. So third thing, are you giving yourself space to heal and grow? What's your environment like? Or if I come around you, am I going to see chaos? Am I going to see triggering in a triggering environment? I walk into people, places that's in recovery. I'm like, yo, this whole environment's triggering. They have someone that they're living with beer everywhere, or something that can remind them of the journey. You know, they're eating unhealthy. They got a bunch of people around them that could care less about their recovery. They're just unhappy. Things are unorganized. They don't have no personal workspace. You ask them, where's your desk or where's your office or where's your workspace? Where do you create? They don't have that. Where do you work out? I don't have that. Do you have a place to meditate? No, I don't have that. Like, you know, right now I'm like laying down with red light lamps and I'm like taking like I'm studying different retinols to take for my skin, and like I'm taking all of these healing herbs and stuff, and I'm drinking apple cider vinegar water, and I'm doing certain type of push-ups and face yoga, and I'm studying. It's a wild life I live. It's like these simple things that I could do for myself by myself to nurture and expand and grow. Like, my idea of a fun night is being locked in my bed with a red light lamp, doing sit-ups, bed sit-ups, while I'm working on NFTs and proofreading something. And, you know, in the background, it's like YouTube is on so I could watch a document. Like, I'm chilling. I'm like maybe watching a documentary, working on some sports stuff or doing sit-ups, photo biomodulation with the red light therapy. Then I might work out, then go eat or cook, brew some tea, make some fun cocktails. Like, I make these sober cocktails with like sugar-free products like aloe vera, ice, and blueberries, and like, you know, sugar-free ginger ale with some lemon, lime juice, and you know, you mix it all up with your ice, and now you're drinking that. You have your herbs. You know, I'm taking stinging needle root and like all these different roots, rhodiola, and I'm just studying how can I get myself healthier, vitamins, minerals, am I hydrated, what's my hydration look like, you know, can I lose weight, how can I better my physiology, like do I have a book I need to work on? What chapters are house meta is dope? Do I need to make some art? Do I need to make music? You see what I'm saying? I created a world where it's like I'm the central focus. Now I have a very demanding job. I go to work and I stay at my job. I work at a group home with adults with disabilities, and so I will go to work on like a Friday and come back home on a Tuesday. So I'm gone. Like I'm not like, you know. So my thing is, I say that to is like I create all of this space for me even when I'm not home and I'm in someone else's place, or if I got to go over to a family member's house, I travel with a suitcase, my red light, my vitamins, specialized water, or my medications for my whatever I need to be taking. You know, my computer, Sober's dope book, Sober New Year's book, my phone, my chargers, my laptop. I have everything I need. I could go anywhere in the world with one tiny suitcase. And I could live, I could create, I could rebuild my body, my mind, and I'm good. I created a sacred space for myself. Do you have a sacred space for yourself? And is your home reflective of a nurturing environment? These are the questions I need you to really. This is the real shit. Listen, when you listen to Sober is Dope, I promise you, pound for pound, this is not a fancy podcast with the $1 million budget and all of the big equipment. But this is cutting edge, state of the art, actionable, no holds barred, scientific and real world shit that you could take and run with, man. I will not come on here and not tell y'all how to level up your life. Just think about it so far. In this one episode, we broke down the importance of sacred spaces, right? Avoiding burnout and like resetting your whole life. We talked about red light therapy, photobiomodulation, and cool stuff like that. I'll do another episode of benefits of red light, but just hearing it sparks something in you. Let me go on Google or YouTube and type in photobiomodulation, health benefits of red light, 60 nanometers, 860 nanometers. Like, let me see what Pop is talking about with this, like collagen production and rebuilding cells. And, you know, now I'm also studying stem cells. I'm studying all type of stuff. I'm just trying to learn, how do we go to the next level? Ozone therapy, purifying the blood. You know, I just learned the other day the power of nasal breathing and the power power of nitric oxide and having these things in our body and these molecules and knowing how that most of us are depleted, brain health, how to rebuild brain cells and, become smarter and becoming younger through the telomere effect and like biohacking and all of these things, peptide research. I'm studying these things. Why? Because I put so much energy and addiction in doing nothing but smoking cigarettes and drinking hard liquor and beer that I had to put even a exponential amount of love and research into how to optimize myself as a human, and I'm nowhere near perfect. Half of the time I was in Sober is Dope, I was studying this stuff and still was 60 pounds overweight. Every day I'm learning something new. But what am I doing in my recovery? Why am I not sober and struggling? You know why I'm not sober and struggling? Because I'm spending too much time on my sobriety and healing. This is a full-time big business for me. Like if I wanted to take a day off of work and sit in a hot tub with a red light and Epsom salt, drinking herbal teas and listening to classical music, I'm willing to take the financial hit and sit in a hot tub or take showers. Like one of my happy places is taking hot showers and listening to my Alexa and got the red light going in the shower with the Alexa. And I'm listening to my Viking music and I'm excited. These are the weird oddball things that I do, but what's your weird oddball healing rituals that you could do? Which brings me to our fourth thing, having some form of ritual of healing, something you do. This is known science. Someone says, I have a cigar. It's not saying this is good, but I'm giving you an example. Oh, every night before I go to bed, I have a cigar and I drink some tea. Okay, cool. We know smoking is bad, but because it's a ritual, something that a person could look forward to, it could be healthy for them, not the cigar part, the ritual part. My thing is, I take a hot shower as my ritual, like unwinding with the red light, the hot shower, and my favorite songs, right? Every night. That could keep me younger and help me live longer because I had this way of decompressing at the end of the night. So what's your healing ritual? And is it rooted in decompressing after a long day or in the morning? Or what's your decompression looks like? You can't go from knocking down 10 fifths of whiskey, 80 40s and 2 cartons of cigarettes and to decompress to being like, oh yeah, I'm strong. Real warriors don't need sleep. Yeah. I'm the shit. Yeah, right. You're going to burn out, get washed up, and your brain's going to be totally banged up, and then you're going to start having slippery thoughts. You're going to be sober and struggling because you're not taking care of yourself. If I put together the master questionnaire, I'm sure everyone's going to answer no. Are you eating healthy? Are you eating a lot of sugar? A lot of you sober and struggling because you're eating Snicker bars all day and Dunkin' Donuts coffee with extra cream cheese, sugar and all of the fixings and the caramel and all that stuff. You're drinking desserts for breakfast. Now, this is not a health episode. There's just a link between depression and sugar, man. Processed foods and sugar. There's a link between anxiety and sadness and seasonal affective disorder with low vitamin D levels, lack of sunlight and exercise, and processed foods and sugars. There's a link between diabetes, heart disease, and early death, premature death, inflammation, aging, damage of the brain, Alzheimer's, all that. Sugar. The same pathway, the dopamine pathway that had us addicted, sugar. Same pathway, same addiction, worse than your drug of choice. So if you're getting off the alcohol, you're getting on the drugs, and then you're replacing and swapping the drug of choice with sugar, you're going to find yourself sober and struggling and stuck. This is the shit that they can't teach you unless you have years of experience, unless you understand all that. I'm telling you, you would have to go to an endocrinologist, a scientist that knows AA, that knows addiction, that's dealing with a psychologist, that's dealing with a naturopath, that's dealing as a general doctor, that's went through keto, that went through all of this stuff that was spiritually centered to make the connection to say, yo, if you sugaring, You falling off, baby. You sugaring, you struggling. If you doing the sugar, you struggling. I don't care what you say. I had some girl challenge me about sugar and all of that. I'm telling you, she blew up so fast. I'm talking about the level of inflammation. She was unrecognizable. I'm saying to you all, play with the sugar if you want. Play with the processed foods if you want. I give you a 1 year stretch to go crazy with eating and early recovery. 1 year. Your first year, I don't care what you do. But you better know that eating whatever you want for that first year while you rebuilding your brain and you trying to get away from that drug of choice, go crazy. Eat 50 pints of ice cream and gummy bears a day. You know, if that means you staying off your drug of choice, go to AA and knock down 800 donuts with as much coffee and cigarettes as you want to smoke. Because that's what I used to do, right? I had my Newports. I have trigger warning because I done kicked them nasty ass Newports. Soon to be 10 years ago. I'm off Newports. Can y'all believe that? 10 years. Pops off Newports. December 15th, make 12 years alcohol, baby. Let's go. It's go time, son. So, like, do what you got to do for that first year. But after that, you better know that was medicine. That was like my mental health medicine. I had to pig out and stuff. But after that, you got to say, okay, now I won't even say take a year, but if it takes you the longest it should take you, you can have a 6-month run or whatever. But at some point, I want you to say, okay, now we got to put on the Rocky music. And you put on that Rocky music. And you start acting like you the championship boxer and you say, yo, now it's time for the championship. I got to get in shape. I got to get healthy. I got to get more vegetables. I got to get more fruit. I got to stay on a high antioxidant, high cruciferous, high fiber, high protein, low carb, low sugar, zero processed food diet, stay hydrated, get back into my sexy, beautify myself, practice self-love, learn some decompression techniques, whether it's meditation, prayer, yoga, tai chi, qigong, boxing, skiing, whatever it is, man. Singing bowls, chanting, music therapy, light therapy, mental health therapy, post-traumatic stress therapy, anything, all of this stuff, healing. I want you to become a healing machine. You have to heal your nervous system, heal your spirit, heal your soul, heal your mind, heal your heart, heal your body, heal your dreams, your self-identity, heal your ego, heal yourself, man and woman, and those who identify as whatever they want. We must heal ourselves, fellow humans. And this is like it's late. I'm tired. I know. I said, yo, I can't go to bed without saying this. I had to do this episode for you guys. I'm a little under the weather, so don't mind me. You know, I have a little nasal thing. You know, I got the MCS, so I had a flare up, so I may sound a little stuffed. But listen to me. We must be healing. All right. I want to end this episode with an affirmation from our new book, Sober New Year's, how to use New Year's resolutions to stay clean and sober. And this is day 181 to 210, sober and resilient. So if you're sober and struggling, this is an affirmation to help you be sober and resilient. From Sober New Year's by Pop Buchanan, Sober is Dope, published by Sober is Dope. All right. I have plenty of support for my needs and an abundance of love to share with others. Okay. This is a reminder. You have plenty of support for your needs and an abundance of love to share with others. Now, let's flip that. If you're sober and struggling, and this is an affirmation, what is this affirmation telling you? You have plenty of support for your needs. So why are you not exercising that support? Why are you not exercising your self-love, right? And you have an abundance and love to share with others. Yes, we know. And that's what sometimes can get you in trouble. But make sure that abundance of love that you affirm, that you could share with others, that you also use to share with yourself, right? Because these affirmations is geared to keep you going. You're coming from addiction to sobriety. We're trying to keep you motivated and give you these affirming reminders of you just being the greatest you can be, right? That's what the Sober is Dope affirmations are about. They're reminders that may seem outlandish. I'm a multi-millionaire and I'm the happiest person in the world. Anyone I meet, I make everyone I meet happy. I'm a happy machine. I'm a happy magnet. My happiness has gone viral. I am the shit. That's what a Sober is Dope Pop Buchanan affirmation kind of reads like. Because you are that ill, man. You that beautiful. You're that great. But it looks nuts on paper when you tell yourself, I am a great steward of my mental and emotional well-being as I cultivate strength. That sounds wild, but it's the truth. You're a great steward of your mental and emotional well-being as you cultivate strength. What are we talking about? This is Sober New Year's. You're cultivating strength. So if you're sober and struggling, you must practice radical self-love, radical mental health care. Now, listen, if you're not seeing a therapist, then you should see a therapist if you're struggling with the mental health aspects. Sober and struggling from addiction, are you healing the mental health aspects? We talk about this all through Sober is Dope. So I'm proud of myself that I don't have to introduce this concept after 300 plus, almost 400 episodes, that I know there's at least 100 episodes on this podcast that talks about the power of like reinforcing your mental health and well-being and doing the work, because you can't find yourself in a sober state on a sober journey and not be healing the mental health aspect and the damage and the mental illness that's associated with alcohol use and drug use, right? You first of all physically are banging up your brain when you operate, when you're drinking and using, right? You just like take it. It's like if Mike Tyson is just, your brain is a punching bag and you just tell Mike Tyson to go crazy and he has unlimited energy. That's the equivalent of our drug of choice banging on our brain. And then you get sober and you're like, oh, I'm good. I can eat Pop-Tarts and ice cream and, go and volunteer all day and not sleep and play superhero and drink coffee without enough water and without appropriate fats. And I'm not rebuilding my body with vital nutrients and getting sunlight and vitamin D and sleep. And I'm not praying and meditating. I'm not putting self-love in. I'm not practicing self-care. I'm just doing whatever I want and I'm winging it after Mike Tyson went to my brain for 10 years straight. What you think gonna happen? You're gonna feel like crap, and your brain is gonna be so damaged. Like it's gonna be like, yo, I don't have enough resources to heal. You're not giving me enough water. I'm not getting enough rest. You're not relaxing. You're always worrying. I'm always in a state of fear. You're not eating well, so my stomach and my gut brain is all out of whack with my real brain, right? And that whole neural access is broken, and and I can't think straight, and I feel lethargic, and I'm tired, and I'm frustrated. And I'm snapping on everybody, and my sex drive is off, and I'm not happy, and I'm just upset, and I don't know why I feel off. I'm telling you why you feel off. You are not prioritizing your well-being above all else. You can't say I prioritize my sobriety above all else. It's like God first, then my recovery, then everything else. You have to say God first, then my recovery, then everything that supports my recovery, then everything else. Meaning that you should be almost on a strict regimen. Like I'm on like a real strict regimen without being on a strict regimen, right? I'm not like military strict. But it's like, yo, I do more in a day to kind of heal myself than hurt myself, At some point in the day, I'm going to say, you know what, let me make some tea. Let me drink some water. Do I have some apple cider vinegar over here? Let me get some apple cider vinegar water. Let me get some, let me get some soup. Let me drink some bone broth. Where's my vitamins at? Am I taking my medication? Let me make my doctor's appointment. Matter of fact, let me take a hot shower. Let me massage my shoulders for 20 minutes apiece, and massage my face, and like really get into some self-care and some loving. put a little bit of time aside every day to really love yourself, man. Don't wait for a holiday or a birthday. Like, you have to like pamper yourself. When I'm off from work, one of my days off, I literally pamper. I sit there and do nothing. I watch TV. I take 2 or 3 showers. I cook. I go for walks. I take naps. I'm like not. I can't say I'm a diva because I'm a guy. I'm just saying, like, it's not like I'm just like, you would think like I'm the Princess of Munda or something. Like, it's like, yo, this dude is off the hook. He just has this thing that he does and he's just doing it. I won't answer my phone. I don't care. I don't know if it's an emergency. Somehow someone will figure out to communicate that it's an emergency enough for me to answer my phone. The next day I get up early, read all my messages, call everyone. Listen, I'm so sorry. Yesterday I was offline, wasn't feeling good, or I'm not going to go into, I was practicing self-love all day yesterday and pampering myself to the moon. That's not how I'm called. I'm just, sorry, I was offline yesterday, crazy day, had a bunch of emergency, had to put out a bunch of fires. Like, you just pretty much just saying to the world, I was offline yesterday, okay? It's okay to be offline on a Tuesday. You don't need a Sunday to be offline. Some of you have days off that's not Friday and Saturday. I mean, Friday, Saturday, or Saturday and Sunday. So I have weird days off. My days off is like Tuesdays, maybe a Thursday, or Tuesday and Wednesdays, or Wednesday. It's a wicked weird. Right? It's my girl saying wicked weird. So those are my days off. But you would think it's a Friday on a Tuesday, Monday afternoon, man. On a Tuesday, man, you would think Friday night, boy. I got a robe on. I got the red light, man. I'm talking about I got all type of stuff to make my little non-alcoholic drinks. I got all type of food. I'm chilling. By the time I go back to work, I have to readapt myself to work life. It'll be a 2 days off. It feel like a 2-week vacation. Because I could sit into a nice hot tub for 3 hours and just listen to music and meditate. Put your phones down if you sober and struggling. This is my last tip. Put your phones down. Listen, look, the fear of comparison, living through comparison and the fear of missing out and dealing with social media and keeping up with the Joneses and the haves and have-nots is the fastest way to be sober and struggling. Put Instagram down. Even me, I have sobers. I can't be on Instagram messing with you guys all every day. I can't. They say, oh, how you gonna be a brand and you not online all day, posting all day? I'm sober. I have to be doing more to stay sober and not turn into a Tasmanian devil. Posting on Instagram is not gonna do it. It's not the top of the healing list. It's at the bottom, right? Social media is not healing. It's not connection. It's not community. No, I'm not saying it like that. It's not a replacement for real connection and real community is what I'm saying. Instagram is extremely healing for me because I get to see all of my friends and all of you guys and we get to celebrate sobriety. But if we get lost in that world as if that's the only aspect of life that is our metric in which we compare ourselves to and our self-worth, then we lose. And then we get lost into what this one is doing and this one posted this video and I got to post. Now you got to post just to keep up with the posting. So you're serving the big brother, the IG, the meta, by saying to yourself, oh, I haven't posted in 2 weeks, so I need to post today to be relevant. No, you need to sit in a bubble bath for 3 hours to be relevant. You need to go pamper yourself for 2 days to be relevant. You need to get on a plant-based, eat a bunch of fruits and vegetables one day out the week and drink your healthy stuff and your teas and exfoliate your skin and go out and do good stuff for yourself and go shopping and get a new wardrobe and love yourself for therapy. That's what you need to do. So if you're sober and struggling, my last question to you, my friends and family, is what's your love look like? What that self-love look like? Are you really loving yourself? Are you really giving yourself that celebration that you deserve for being alcohol ass one more day? That's a big flex. Someone had the nerve to tell me the other day, they said this to my girl, and I was pissed. And I said, I'm going to check this person. They was like, oh, it's been a year since you sober, so you still got to talk about it? It's like, I would figure, I was like, that's the most ignorant shit I ever heard. I will be celebrating and talking about my awesome sobriety to the day I die at 155. I'll be the oldest man on the planet talking about I'm the founder of Sober is Dope and I kept my promise to God and I'm happy. And I practice self-love and I'm celebrating. Yo, celebrate your sobriety. And if your family don't want to celebrate it with you, find a new family of friends you can celebrate it with. Take yourself out for dinner on your sober anniversary. Take yourself out on a random Friday if you sober because you're sober. Every day's your birthday in sobriety. Don't listen to these idiots out here who don't understand what it feels like to pull yourself out of a real hell on earth scenario and be triumphant. Don't believe the people who have not been through that type of transformational terror from terror to redemption. All right. They think it's like a horrible. You see the movie Terrifier? Addiction is worse. You see the movie Nightmare on Elm Street? Addiction is worse. Being stuck in that nasty, toxic cycle of addiction, the ruminating thoughts of fear, panic, shame, guilt, embarrassment, anger and betrayal and resentments, all of that stewing around in this big pot of just despair, and you're just drinking it and injecting it and taking it and using it. It's crazy, man. You're a warrior. So if you're sober and struggling, are you being celebrated? Are you being loved? Are the people around you trying to be low-key haters? I'm going to tell you the truth. People's corny, man. People be haters. Oh, she's still talking about that recovery stuff. Then get over it. Yo, someone talks about you like that, block them. Don't talk to them no more. And if they try to come around you, say, listen, get away from me. Get behind me, Satan. Listen, I know a lot of y'all are not into the spirituality and the religious stuff, but Jesus, I'm going to give Jesus a big flex. When one of the apostles told him, hey, I'm going to paraphrase, Christ was about to be crucified. He knew that this was upon him. You know, this cup couldn't pass his generation, you know, and one of the apostles, the devil came through one of the apostles and was like, you know, you really don't got to go through with this. You kind of Jesus. We kind of just go down the back road, go hang out and stuff. You don't really got to go and die for all these people's sins. And he said he didn't address his friend. He addressed the demon in his friend and said, "Get behind me, Satan." Now, you got to understand the power of that statement. When one of your family members or one of your friends or your lover or somebody comes to you and they diminish and they belittle your recovery journey, and you know this is a life and death, good and evil, good and bad, God, devil type scenario, demon and saint type scenario, drag me to hell type shit, okay? When you know how dark that is, you could look at them and give them the benefit of the doubt of their humanity, but you have the right to look them dead in the eyes and say, get behind me, Satan. Because you got me all the way jammed up today. If you think you're going to make me feel small about my sober journey, you hating piece of you know what. Now, that's where I'm coming from. Don't play with people in your recovery. Let them know. I sense that if I challenge this person's recovery, I might get punched in my face. That's how serious you have to be about your shit, because this is life and death. I have some of my best friends I haven't hung out with in like 5 or 6 years, not because they're bad for me, not because of anything else, that if it doesn't fit into my healing recovery journey, then they're probably scheduled for 2029, because I still might need 2 years to sit in a hot tub and build something that interests me and makes me happy. These are the most extremes examples I could give you of fostering self-love and self-peace and healing, but they're real shit. So ask yourself, am I doing all of these things that Pop laid out? Am I being super real with myself? Am I giving myself the degree of self-love that I deserve for my recovery journey? Am I certain that I got all the haters out of my life? Am I shutting down all the adversaries? And anyone that challenged my sobriety, can I look them square in the eyes and say in my heart and in my mind, get behind me, Satan? You're listening to Sober is Dope. I'm your host, Pop Buchanan. December 15th, I'll be celebrating 12 years sobriety. Go get my new book, Sober New Year's, How to Use New Year's Resolutions to Stay Clean and Sober. Really proud of that one. And look, I'm still not promoting it online. I'm still just giving the podcast listeners the first dibs to get it, to, have it. So when we start promoting around December 15th and stuff like that, you guys already have your copies, man. Remember, I make this stuff for you guys just so y'all can have these mementos from me, these little gifts and offerings. You listening to the podcast, you have the books and maybe have a shirt or something. And you, my family, man, I love y'all. And I'm always going to protect you. That's what Sober is Dope is about. I don't come on here just to talk. I come on here like it's life or death between you and myself. If you're listening to this, it's just you and I. It's just us two on this podcast. Or whoever's listening. If you're in the car, it's just us. There's not hundreds of that. It's just us. And I'm talking to you as if you was my family, because you are. If you was a little mother, father, brother, sister, lover, kid, friend, forever, best friend, soulmate, I'm talking to you. I'm giving you the same advice I would give my child. If I was on my dying bed and I wanted all the love in the world for them and I just had to give them some real shit to take home that I know will help, that's Sober is Dope. I'm not coming on here scripting. I'm coming from the soul. I'm giving y'all the deepest tools from my soul that keeps me away from going down the block to that liquor store and going nuts. I have enough money on me to buy out that whole liquor store. Well, not really, but you know what I mean. Considering where I was, I find a loan 20. I'm off to the races. I'm happy. I'm the happiest guy for 24 hours. You know how it used to be, man. Don't let me find a $20 bill back there. Oh boy, the happiest person alive, man. That's addiction for you. But now I have enough money to go down there and buy 3 months worth of liquor, and that I would never walk into the forsaken place and hurt myself in that way. Why? Because I love myself, and there's nothing my drug of choice could ever bring to me resembling anything close to love, man. Love is the furthest thing away from your drug of choice or addiction. And always remember that. And put that on a t-shirt and remember, you heard it from Pop. Love is the furthest thing away from your addiction. There's no love in addiction. There's no God in addiction. There's no hope in addiction. That shit is negative, antimatter, dark magic, evil shit. And we do not need that. That is counterproductive to the human body, the IP of the living universe, the human body, the highest technology in the universe, with souls that we transport across space and time through consciousness, through infinite myriads and myriads upon blessings and miracles, just to be here in the living form of something that could create as his creator gave him the power to do, or her the power to do. And drugs and alcohol is the antithesis of that thing, which is us. So when we're talking about this, we're talking about at the highest levels, if you're sober and struggling, you are still at the highest state of peace you could be, because the alternative of relapsing is hell on earth all over again. So if you're sober and struggling, do everything in your power to get back to sobriety, sober, and thriving and kicking ass and taking names. All right. I love you guys. We're almost at the finish line for 2024. If you're listening to this and you're sober and you're downing out and shit's not going right, please, you're almost there. Go back to the drawing board, scratch out everyone's name and put your name at the top with God's and say, listen, I have to put myself first moving forward if I'm going to get through the rest of 2024. It's my way or the highway, healing that by all means necessary. Let's get it. I love you all. I'll catch you on the other side. Let's go.